And first thing, are you a fan of jurors visiting the crime scene? And
Yeah. Go
what are
ahead.
your thoughts of that?
Well, yes, but maybe not here because the
Depending on the
danger was.
situation.
Well, it's a dangerous situation like O.J. Simpson. That I listened to the hearing, watched the hearing where the prosecutor said, there's trophies, there's religious, icons or things that that weren't there at the time of the search warrant. That they had whole trophy cases built, since the search warrant executions. So the danger is the jury walks in and says, "Oh my gosh, this guy's a big deal." It's like kind of starstruck. He's got this huge contract, with the Patriots, and he's got this new baby and this wonderful fiance, and that whole kind of sympathy factor and icon factor, is kind of, I think, cemented in jurors' minds when they actually go to the home, and that's what happened in the O.J. Simpson case. He had pictures of Norman Rockwell paintings and a picture of his mother next to the bed.
Yeah, didn't they have to do the house over again in the O.J.?
Yeah, right. And so, those kinds of things matter. And does it really help the jury to see where the surveillance, equipment is? Probably not. I mean, does it help, to know where he was when he was caught on surveillance with a Glock? I've seen that. It looks like a Glock, which is a murder weapon. Probably not. So in this instance, I probably would not, as a prosecutor, have wanted to do this. But on the other hand, I'd really have to think it through because, because the defense is also going to say, why would he give up this mansion? The doghouse is as big as a lot of people's, living rooms. The doghouse is the main house. And, there was a formal living room and an informal living room. There was, great wealth. He's got this multi-million-dollar contract over 5 years. He's got the world by the tail. So why would he kill a guy that he hardly knows? Or that, as the defense urges, was his friend, Odin Lloyd. So that whole jury view, I think it's perfunctory. I think a lot of times we just do it in cases because it's done. But I think it really needs to be thought through in a case like this.
No question about it. We do have somebody on the line. I'm not sure if she's in the same line. Do we have Beth Karras? Beth, are you with us?
Well, this is not who you said it was. I'm just a local listener here, and I was just tuning into the show.
Okay, do you have a question or comment?
Tonight? Well, I was just, what kind of just caught my attention here just for a second, because I don't think it was a choice, like, why would he give up this to do that or something like that, he'd have, the moment that were passion crimes or things like that, who knows what could have been the emotional factor behind these crimes. It wasn't a matter of, his doghouse is bigger than most people's houses. I wouldn't think so. I mean, you never know, though.
What do you think?
No, I said his doghouse is the size of a lot of people's living rooms. I think it was actually a playhouse when he bought that house, but... And you're right. He may or may not have weighed out those things in his mind, but the defense will argue that he had a lot to give up, and I think that can be compelling to the jury.
I mean, if you look at a lot of these high-profile cases, I mean, they all have a lot to give up. Sometimes that's why they end up in these situations as they do, because they almost think they're invincible. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
they're point.
You know what I mean? Like, they have so much, so you can't even get to them. So they create these lifestyles and these attitudes, and the King Tut syndrome or whatever. But,
that's a great point.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows what it is or what really causes people? But sometimes the more you have, or the more fame that you have, that you know. I know I'm not the first person to say, but in the entertainment industry and the artists and the people who are signed in deals and sports or acting or what have you, I mean, these are not always the most emotionally stable people. Mm-hmm. Most artists and people that are in these jobs need and want to be loved because they never got that from where they came from.
You should be on the radio.
Yes.
I am right here.
Right now. Those are great points. Excellent point.
But, there's so many different factors, so you just never really know. And I was just kind of tuning in and listening in for a second. And I just, and that just caught my attention, what you said there. And, that may not have even played a part. And at a time like that, he like I said, he could find he was invincible. He probably did. And maybe that's why he even did it, just to even prove a point. I'm bigger and badder than you.
There's some great articles out there right now on Hernandez and whether or not he's a psychopath, and that's basically being invincible. He's very charming. After he was alleged to have killed 2 people in Boston, he gave that press account. I've got the new baby. I'm no longer young and reckless. I've got this huge contract that he can maintain beautifully, and part of that is feeling invincible if indeed he's a psychopath. But there's a number of articles out there stating that it's that invincibility that actually allowed him to do these things.
I'm sure that if they really looked into it or had a professional, check out all those logistics, I'm sure that would be the conclusion they would come to. Just give a man at 7:30 a mental evaluation, and I'm sure you can find out a lot more about him than you ever could on reading his bio.
Right. But, his lawyers haven't done that. I don't think they've done that, because if he's a psychopath, it's not really going to be a defense mentally, but I think that's probably where a lot of people are arriving in terms of how he could be so
But sometimes
charming.
These psychopaths, they have to first be willing to admit that, okay, let's play the crazy card, because, he may be so narcissistic that he's not even willing to admit that, that even could be the issue. He's willing to just fight it all the way, Even to this moment, he still thinks his fame and his money and all that is going to save him.
Right, and he's got, once he gets done with this trial, he faces 2 more murder charges in Boston. He's going to fight it all.
Yeah.
But the jury won't be introduced to those charges.
No, they will not. That's
jury,
exactly right. No,
and caller, what do you think the outcome of this Aaron Hernandez trial will be?
It's you just never really know. You think it's going to go one way and then it can go another. We got the O.J. Simpson case. You have Michael Jackson. From the little stars, there's the Lindsay Lohans, there's the Chris Brown. You really just know you don't know really what's going to happen. I